Hello designer, you're welcome again to my channel. My name is Oluchi of Luchi Rooted Stars Fashion, and I just want to welcome you. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome, and if you're an old subscriber, you're welcome. So today I want to guide us on how to take accurate trouser measurements, because after this particular video I will be making video of how to cut perfect trouser, right? Perfect trouser pants. So today I will be guiding us, of course, with my mannequin here on how to take accurate trouser measurement. A lot of us are getting it wrong somehow, right? And that is why our trouser pants is not always fitted just the way we want it, right? So today I'll be guiding us on the step-by-step way we can cut, we can measure our clients or ourselves accurately, right? Using my mannequin here, right? Now, the first thing you want to do is to get your waist area. Most times we can use like a bias tape or just a tape tool to tie around our waist. Or the way you can identify your waist area is to tilt a bit this way as humans, right? Wherever part of the body or wherever part of this area that goes inside is your waist area. The waist is always the smallest part of the human body, right? For me, it is this part, and for this other side, it is this part. So here I'll be using my mannequin. So now, to start with taking this measurement, we'll be needing 9 different areas of our body, starting from the waist. Starting from the waist. Now, these 9 different measurements includes our waist circumference, your round waist circumference. Now, the hip, you take your hip circumference, your round hip circumference. Then after that, you take your crotch. Now, there are different methods of taking crotch, which I'm going to be showing you in this video. But there's a particular formula you can use without even applying or taking the measurements on your client, right? Which I'm also going to be telling us in this video, right? I've mentioned my waist circumference, my hip circumference, and then my crotch, right? My crotch measurement. And then the next thing is your thigh, which is also known as a lap, the lap circumference, right? And then after the lap circumference is your waist to hip, your waist to hip. The next is your waist to your above knee, your waist to your above knee. I will always say you don't take your knee measurement on your actual or your exact knee. You come up by 2 to 3 inches, and that becomes your knee measurement when you are creating anything that has to do with your knee, right? Now you are taking your waist to above knee. That is the next one, your waist to above knee measurement. And after you've taken your waist to above knee measurement, you take your above knee circumference. After that, you are taking your ankle, right? Your ankle is the measurement you take from beneath your feet upwards. This will enable you, enable you fit into your trouser whenever you're done making it. Most times you finish making trouser and you discover that you can't even put your leg into it, or sometimes you need to use a leather, what we call nylon, to wear this trouser, especially for pencil trousers. That's because we didn't take our exact ankle measurement. And then the last thing you'll be needing is your trouser length. Now I'll go over it again. The first thing you need for your trouser measurement is your waist circumference, your hip circumference, your crotch measurements, your lap, your waist to hip, your waist to above knee, your above knee circumference, your ankle, and then your trouser length. These are the 9 measurements you'll be needing when taking your trouser measurement. Now let's dive into how to take this measurement accurately. Now the first thing you should always do is to take your trouser length. Take your trouser length. What is the length of your trouser? Right? Do you want a long trouser, a 3/4 trouser, or a short trouser? Now you take your trouser length, placing your tape from your waist area, right? You locate the waist area of your client. You place your tape on that waist area, and then you go down. You go down this way. You go down from that down to the length, right? It can be at the side of the leg this way, or it can be a floor length, right? It can be a floor length. Whichever one you want to take, you should ask your client. You should always communicate with your clients when taking their measurements. Now, after the trouser length, the next thing you want to take is your waist circumference, the waist circumference of your client. And how do you take that? You go around your client's body this way. I've always say here that whenever you're taking measurements, you don't stay at the front of your client. You stay by the side. This will enable you take, go around the way you want to take your client measurements. Now you take the round, the waist circumference this way, right? This way, placing one tip of your finger, one of your finger beneath for ease sake, right? Now this is the waist measurement. After the waist circumference, the next thing you want to take is your round hip, the round hip measurement. placing your tape on the biggest part of your client. You can look, at the other end, and look at the other end to make sure that your tape is sitting properly, right? You can always adjust it the way you see me doing, right? Making sure that your tape is sitting exactly at the biggest part of the hip, just the way you see here, right? Just the way you see here. You can see where this tape is sitting, right? You can see where this tape is sitting, right? Now, this is how you can take your round hip measurement. Now, after the round hip measurement, the next thing you should take is your crotch. Now, a lot of people use this method, right? Which is also okay if you want to do it. Use this method, placing their tape, probably asking your client to spread their legs, and then you place your tape across their, their inner parts, and then you take it this way. This part of the tape getting to this part, and this other part touching the waist this way. I don't know if you can see what I'm trying to show you here. This way. You can see how this tape is. Now this part of the tape is touching the waist part of this. Now you can see the back and you can see the front. This part of the front as well is also touching this particular waist. Now either you use this method or you ask them to sit on a chair this way. You get them a chair this way, right? And you ask them to sit on it. They will sit on a chair this way, and then from you place your tape on their waist like this, and you put it on the, you can see what I'm doing here. You put it on the chair, on this the chair they are sitting on. So whatever that you have there becomes their crotch measurement. You can also use this method, right? But all these methods are not, to me personally, they are not professional. You can't ask your client to spread their legs and you're putting your tape beneath their, their private part area, and it is not professional for me. Now, the easiest way you can go about taking your crotch measurement is adding 1 to your hip circumference. Your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1. If you're making a jumpsuit, for example, it requires trouser, of course. You can go by 2 or 2.5, right? But when you add 1 to your hip measurement divided by 4, for example, for me, my hip measurement divided by 4 is 11, plus 1, it will give me 12. And this has worked perfectly for me over time, right? So the best way you can take your crotch is your crotch, right? Either you can use this method, but the one I use that works perfectly for me is my hip divided by 4 plus 1. Whatever I get is my crotch. I've used this several times and it works perfectly, right? And that is it for crotch. The next thing you want to take is your lap measurement. You want your client to spread their legs a bit, and then you go inside this way. You take the biggest part of their lap, this part. The lap extend almost going down to the knee, but you take the biggest part this way. Now, you don't take it so tight. You don't always take your measurement so tight. You come up, you release your tape this way. Look at my hand. Are you seeing the gap inside here? This is how you go about it, right? Now, this is the way you take your lap measurement, right? You bring up your tape this way, not this way, making it so tight. No, you go up a bit this way. Can you see my hand here? So this is how you take your thigh or your lap measurement. So the next thing you want to take after taking your thigh is your waist. Your waist to your above knee. I said for your waist to your above knee, you don't always take at your exact knee. You can look for the person's exact knee. For this mannequin, this is the exact knee. Now you go up, you can count upwards by 2, right? You can just trace it to your tape and you count upwards by 2. The actual knee for this mannequin is 22. When I want to take her above knee measurement, I will come up by 2. So I'll be using 20 instead of 22, right? So I'll place my tape on the waist and then I'll come up at her above knee, the mannequin's above knee, which is 20. Now her above knee is 20, right? Her waist, the waist of this mannequin to the above knee is 20. Now, still on the above knee, taking your round or your above knee circumference, you go this way. You put one finger beneath this way, right? So this is the mannequin's above knee circumference, right? The next thing I want to take after this is the ankle, right? Is the ankle. Now the ankle is taken this way. Because of this this stuff, I can't use the mannequin. So, but I'll be showing you using my own. The ankle is taken by placing your tape this way, right? You go beneath it this way and you go over this way. For me here, it is 14, right? I have 14. You don't make it too tight or too loose. So this here is the way you can take your ankle, right? Your ankle measurement this way. So this is okay for me, right? So that is it, right? That is it for this measurement thing. So thank you so much for staying with us all through. Please, if you have not subscribed, please help me subscribe. It is free. And also click on the notification button to get notified whenever I post new videos, because I post new videos every week. See you on the next one.